This is the weekend edition of Fear and Greed Business News, Australia's best business podcast. I'm Sean Aylmer and good morning, Adam Lang.
Good morning, Sean.
Our weekend show is all about two of us. In this instance, Adam and I. Normally it's Michael, but he remains in Fiji on holidays. Adam and I each nominating what we think is the biggest story of the week, the most remarkable story, the sleeper story, and our favourite story. We need a judge. Normally that's Adam. Obviously he can't be contestant and judge, though he did push for that during the week. We needed someone unbiased, someone wise. So we have Cherelle Murphy, the chief economist at EY, a great person, and we're going to call her Judge Murphy from now on. Cherelle, thank you very much and welcome to the weekend edition of Fear and Greed.
Oh, you're so welcome, and I am very excited to be here.
We're very excited that you're here. Now, I just want to point out something to the listeners about Cherelle. Western Australian heritage?
Correct?
Oh, a bit like Adam, yeah. Studied economics?
Yes.
Oh, a bit like Adam. Two intelligent kids?
Oh, totally.
Bit like Adam. Have worked with me at some point in your career?
Yes, indeed.
Very, very much like Adam, right? There's a bias already towards Adam.
Well, it's interesting, Sean, because I was just about to say don't expect any bias just because I worked in the same organisation as Sean. But you found all sorts of similarities with Adam I didn't even know about. So
I was going offence in terms of defence because Cherelle and I, actually, we both worked at the Reserve Bank at different times, but we both worked at the Reserve Bank, then we both worked at the Financial Review together. So we've known each other for a long while. She's never really liked me very much, I don't think.
Well, I will remind you at this point, Sean, of the several news stories of mine which I put up to you when you were news editor, which you rejected.
Oh, ouch.
We will just keep that in the background. Let's keep that in the background.
Don't hang on to things, Cherelle. Don't hang on to things.
I never forget, Sean.
Righto, let's jump into it. Biggest story of the week. Adam, are you okay if I go first?
Please do.
Interest rates. Not that I'm playing to the judge or anything, the chief economist at EY, but interest rates. The new Reserve Bank Governor, Michelle Bullock, lifted the official cash rate from 4.1% to 4.35%. That is a whopping 425 basis points of rate hikes in 18 months. Incredible. What's it mean? Well, for someone with a $750,000 mortgage, nearly $2,000 a month more in home loan repayments. That's a lot of money. Bullock left the door open for another rate rise, though financial markets seem to think there's not another one imminent. Well, that's what they're thinking today. One measure of that is bond yields. They've fallen, which says investors in the market don't think there's too much left in the RBA tank. The problem is prices. They're just a little bit too high and going a little bit too fast for the Reserve Bank to be comfortable. In fact, all those people at Martin Place are getting less comfortable with new inflation forecasts suggesting price growth won't fall as fast as expected. Of course, it's the biggest story. I mean, it affects homeowners, it affects pensioners, anyone with a personal loan, any investor. Think super funds. How about all us folks with credit card debt? My dog Flo. She's been upset ever since the announcement. It's a huge story, biggest story of the week.
Really? Your dog is upset?
Oh, Flo's a mess. I mean, her credit card bills are ridiculous.
Okay.
Dog food, extra scratches, personal scratches, things like that. Adam, beat that.
I'll do my best, Sean. Cherelle, have you noticed that some people, mostly famous actors like West Australia's own Heath Ledger, they reach a certain level of international fame and become known as Australia's own? No, not just Heath Ledger, Kate Blanchett, Nicole Kidman or Chris Hemsworth. Have you noticed that?
I have, but they're not West Australian, Adam, so where are you going with this?
Yeah, okay. Nice. Keep it up.
Well, Australia's own Anthony Albanese, aka our Prime Minister, has been a prime mover on the international stage again this week, following his recent tour of the USA. Albanese said he was happy to be concluding a successful trip to China as the first Australian Prime Minister to visit the country since 2016. He said, and when China represents more than 1 in 4 of our export dollars and more than 1 in 4 of Australian jobs depends on our exports, this is an important relationship. Our meeting marked as well a recommencement of our annual leaders meeting, end of quote. Since the change of government 18 months ago, China seems to have realised that putting Australia in the freezer of economic coercion has not worked. At the same time, we have shown a greater openness to discussion. Australia is still negotiating for the removal of punitive tariffs tariffs on wine, lobster and beef. But if these succeed, we will be billions better off in international trade and strategically more vital on the geopolitical stage. Our international position then got another positive move on the chessboard this week as Albanese joined regional leaders at the Pacific Islands Forum in the Cook Islands for the annual meeting of regional power brokers. The Australian Financial Review reported that Prime Minister Anthony Albanese said he has had nothing but positive feedback about Australia's climate change policies. So in the last few weeks, our Prime Minister has visited the USA, China and the Pacific Islands Forum, and our international position is better for it, which is big, big news. Cherelle.
Whew. So,
now, Cherelle, before you actually give a judgment, can I just point something out here?
is this interference here?
Totally, absolutely. That's what this show's all about, though.
Go ahead.
Don't you love the fact that Albo said he's had nothing but positive feedback about our climate change policies? Any thoughts he should be speaking to someone else? If you're only talking to the people saying you're doing a good job, you're not talking to the right people. Right, that's my interjection. Go on.
Okay, so I'll take a mark off for that interjection.
Hold on. What are the rules here?
I've got a spreadsheet of rules. I just haven't shown it to you.
God, there's another bloody Adam Lang special. Go on. Spreadsheets.
Look, I've got to say, congratulations to you both on picking an economic story. Very wise, given my profession. And look, as the former Austrade chief economist, that did hit a soft spot, Adam, with your talk about trade. And
well, that's just a remarkable coincidence, Cherelle. I didn't know that at all.
We went through some pretty hairy times there with the trade barriers which China put up, and of course some.
Was that your fault, Cherelle, as chief economist at Austrade?
For the record, it happened before I started.
So the coming down is your fault. Well done.
Yeah, that's right. We got it back. That's right. And I am sympathetic to that story. But how do you go past interest rates? It is the biggest story of the week. It is hurting a lot of people, but of course the Reserve Bank is doing it for all the reasons that we need, which is it's kind of like medicine. We've got to take it, and we've had another dose this week, and there's not many people who would not be affected by that. So, sorry, Adam, this one goes to Sean.
I think that's actually the right decision, Cherelle.
Oh, Adam, come on. I mean, how can I gloat? How can I gloat when you're so nice about it?
I did my best with what was left, but it is the biggest story of the week.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's probably a bit unfair that I went first on that one. So how about when we get to the most remarkable story, which is now, you go first, Adam. What's your most remarkable story for the week?
Okay, Cherelle, I can say it in one word, Optus. That's it. Ooh, just one word, Optus.
I think I'm in trouble.
Cherelle, are you an Optus customer?
No.
Ooh, that's getting better. This is getting better. Go on.
Well, Optus is my nomination for the most remarkable story of the week, and I really should explain this to anyone who is not one of the 10 million Optus customers or 400,000 businesses who woke after 4 a.m. on Wednesday to find that they had no mobile signal, no internet connection, no way to use their phone to pay for their morning coffee, Sean, and probably no way to text or make a phone call to ask Optus about it. Transport systems were crippled around the country, hospitals and government departments were disaffected, and throughout the day, even Optus found the situation difficult. For the company with a brand proposition yes, Optus was delivering customers a hard no.
Ooh, nice.
During the connectivity chaos, Optus CEO Kelly Bayer Rosmarin had to use WhatsApp to call into ABC Morning Radio for an interview to apologise and explain that they were investigating the issue. Services were restored late on Wednesday afternoon, and on Thursday, Optus revealed that a modern, intelligent router network with multiple layers of fallback and redundancy had failed entirely. Now, it's just over a year since the Optus cyber attack where 2.8 million Australians experienced a massive data breach, but this was another tough week for Optus and its customers. Remarkable. Sean.
I kind of feel sorry for him.
Who, for Optus?
I mean, it shouldn't happen. Don't get me wrong.
Oh, yeah.
But for the grace of God, go a lot of, like with the cyber attack last year, and maybe I'm just being too nice to him, am I?
Tragedies can hit, right? It's how you handle them.
Yeah, they didn't handle it very well. We all know what Kelly Bayer Rosmarin looks like now. Got to tell you that. Seen a lot of her.
And her health.
Okay, my most remarkable story.
Oh, dear.
My most remarkable story are the bank results. So much money. This week we had Westpac and National Australia Bank both report their full year results, put them together. They made about $15 billion in the 12 months to the end of September. Now that's remarkable, but not really my entry into this category. What's remarkable is how resilient Aussie consumers are, given the cost of living crisis we're having. Westpac and National Australia Bank, along with Commonwealth Bank a few months ago, it reports to the end of June. These guys report to the end of September. So Westpac, National Australia Bank and Commonwealth Bank said they're just not seeing a big jump in loan arrears. They aren't seeing people in significant stress. People are actually repaying their loans. That massive mortgage cliff we're all dreading. In fact, I reckon we had an interview, Adam, months ago with the chief economist of EY, and we talked mortgage cliffs. Anyway, just
I recall that.
parking up the moment.
That's not going to work, Sean, but carry on.
Judge Murphy, come on. The massive mortgage shift, well, it's kind of more like a rolling decline, I would say. And that's despite all the stuff I said a moment ago about how big the interest rate story is. I know this is working against it, but stay with me, right? Stay with me. It's quite remarkable that the Australian economy, as demonstrated by the loan arrear levels, is doing so well. We keep hearing that we're in a cost of living crisis. People can't make ends meet. I'm sure many can't, but many can. Notwithstanding the price of petrol, energy, mortgages, bananas, $4.50 a kilo. Ooh, I don't like that. Still buying them though. People have jobs, and that does so much to alleviate any crisis. Now, I fear the very low income are the people that are feeling it most, and that's tragic. It's the only way to put it. Far be it for me to throw another story into the mix, right, as this category, but I will.
I'm confused. Yes, carry on.
So we're just talking about the resilience in the consumers here.
Uh-huh.
Let's go to the US just briefly, across the pond, the really big one, the Pacific.
Is there a time limit on this, Adam, for an entry?
Oh, nice.
Oh, that's
Michael
wonderful.
Thompson would be so proud of you.
Yeah.
You've got 10 seconds, Sean.
Excellent. The US economy is heading for the most forecast recession ever, but it just keeps getting put back. Maybe it won't actually happen. My main point, the bank's results this week showed the resilience in the Australian economy and just how well consumers are handling the cost of living crisis. I reckon that's pretty remarkable. Cherelle, I would have had that done earlier, but you interrupted. So go on. Over to you.
Both
You lose a point.
remarkable. Hang on, I'm the judge. I don't get to lose a point.
Yeah, for this week only, I'm at this
That's
point.
right. You can judge me when I'm in the other chair.
Okay.
So I think both remarkable stories, but Adam wins hands down on this. And not just because it is a remarkable story and affected many, many people, but also because, Sean, when you mentioned the bank's profits, you mentioned the figure $15 billion, which is a big number. But something that always annoys me is that no one mentions what the margin is, which is actually what matters. So, Adam, you win on 2 accounts.
God, you sound like you were once an economist at ANZ. We know where your sympathies lie.
Sure, you used to be a Reserve Bank economist, but, you'd think you'd mention margins.
Brilliant.
Well, the net interest margins were higher. And by the way, my entry wasn't that. It was actually the resilience of the consumer. Anyway, I'm not dirty about losing.
Yeah.
I think it is time to take a break. Let's recalibrate.
We are 1-1. I'm still in with a chance.
We are 1-1. It's half time. We'll be back in a moment. Okay, we're back again for the second part of the show. I am putting up with a couple of, spreadsheet gurus here. We during the break, we talked about bank margins, net interest margins. I don't think Adam knew what they were, to be honest.
Wow. There's a little tension here in the Fear and Greed studio.
Absolutely.
Gloves are off.
We're at 1-1. Sleeper story. I'll go first this time, Adam. That's okay with you?
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm calling it. We are post-peak Melbourne Cup. It's got nothing to do with the amount of money I lost last Tuesday. It has nothing to do with the fact that the winner, without a fight, didn't even feature in any of the tips I'd been given by Stephen Koukoulas. Nor does it have anything to do with the fact my tip to Fear and Greed listeners absurd never looked like winning. It actually has everything to do with the fact that Cherelle's kids, I believe, are pony riders, aren't they?
One of them is, yes.
Yes, so I'm assuming you love horses. So my sleeper story is we are post-peak Melbourne Cup. There's still plenty of money in racing, $900 million in prize money across the nation. The Melbourne Cup was worth $8 million in prize money. The winner got $4.4 million. Jockey gets about 5%, $220,000. But the crowds at the races aren't what they used to be. There were no crowds in the COVID years, and 10,000 people were allowed in 2021. Last year was a record low, 73,816 people turned up. Mind you, there was a flood around Flemington last year. It was crazy weather. This year, the weather was good. The trains were running, as opposed to Wednesday, as per Adam's Optus story. About 84,000 people turned up. Now, the record attendance for a cup is 123,000 spectators about 20 years ago. It just seems that 84,000 isn't that great a crowd. What about television ratings? Channel 10's viewers last year fell to 1.35 million nationally, compared to well above 3 million before 2015. This year it was better, 1.68 million. That number does include streaming, but it's still well below 2021. My final proof point that we are post-peak Melbourne Cup. Not one person, not one, asked me to be in a sweep. Not Adam, not Cherelle, not my lovely partner Jackie. We are post-peak Melbourne Cup. That's my sleeper story. Adam.
Well, before you start, Adam, can I just interrupt and say I'm sympathetic to this one because I was stuck at my desk and doing media interviews about the Reserve Bank on Tuesday, not partaking in any of the fun. And my friends were sending me pictures all day of themselves in hats drinking champagne. So you have hit a nerve there.
Oh, excellent. Excellent. Beat that, Adam.
Sean, this week you reported the end of the Hollywood actors' strike after 118 days. It was the longest ever strike of its kind and followed the end of the writers' strike, which ended in September but lasted for 5 months. The two strikes had a crippling effect on Hollywood's movie and television production and is estimated to have costed the Southern Californian economy around $6.5 billion US. Now, both strikes concluded with an agreement finally being reached on pay and conditions. But they have also prompted two reasons that this is my nomination for Sleeper Story of the Week. The first reason is the no longer sleeping giant of artificial intelligence. The new agreement saw writers seeking to keep AI out of scripts, and actors gained a guarantee that studios would not use artificial intelligence to create their digital replicas without payment or approval. Those limitations on artificial intelligence are in these deals, but how long can that last? The second reason, and this is my nomination for Sleeper Story of the Week, is that the entertainment production game has become less dominated by Hollywood, and the strikes have helped. Streamers like Netflix and Korean productions like Squid Game have shown that the creative entertainment industry is progressively shifting internationally. The months-long strikes of US writers and actors have helped their pay, conditions, and to limit AI for now, but they've also caused the international production axis to tilt further away from Hollywood to become more of a world game. The USA writer and actor strikes are over, but this sleeper story of greater international entertainment production has just begun. Cherelle.
Ooh, Adam, excellent detail on that story. There was a number of facts in there that I was not aware of. So
I'd say a twisted story for mine from Adam.
No.
That was going all over the place. I mean,
I wouldn't say it was twisted. I think he just
you
explored.
two West Australians, get together, go on.
This has got nothing to do with Western Australia, Sean.
Is that what the education system's like over there, that you could understand that? Sorry to all those Western Australians out there. We do love you.
Sean, back in your box. I do feel like Adam is winning here on the sheer amount of detail that he had to explain why that story was the start of potentially something bigger. And so,
oh my God,
Adam,
if detail's the reason someone wins, Adam's always going to win.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Who would have thought logic works?
But there are big implications from that, Adam. I agree. If AI has been written into contracts and how we use it, well, who knows what's next? Good one.
Thank you, Cherelle.
So is that so you think the changing of a global industry is more important?
Just like the Melbourne Cup, you can't help but protest.
Well, that's exactly right, Adam. This is a protest. So global industry versus me not getting a sweep. I just don't think I'm going to do real well on that one somehow.
Really well, Sean. It's really well, not real well.
Well, not in New South Wales. In Western Australia, it might be. Over here, we're real well. Thanks very much. Look, that looks like it's 2-1, although the maths in Western Australia may be different too. However, to Adam, 1 to Sean, -2 to Judge Murphy. Anyway, moving on to our favourite story of the week. Adam, what's your favourite story of the week?
Alrighty. Cherelle, we love business here at Fear and Greed. Do you love business too?
I love business. It's where I spend my life.
So this week, Sean gave me and our loyal listeners another reason to learn from other businesses about how we can evolve, innovate, test, learn, and keep growing even in the face of challenges. In fact, he gave us a reason to be inspired. And I, for one, want to thank you, Sean Aylmer, as I wipe the tears of gratitude for Sean from my eyes.
What's going to be about? Yeah.
I want to turn everyone's attention, but mostly yours, Cherelle, to my nomination for Favourite Story of the Week. Consumer spending is one of the most vital components of our economy.
55% of GDP, for the record.
Absolutely. Retail has
Did
been
you know
one...
that, Adam, or are you just saying absolutely? So
No,
I had no idea it was 55%
I
of
did,
GDP.
but I would have sounded like a right narc quoting figures at Cherelle. I mean, she knows this terrain.
What did you do in that last story about the bloody global Hollywood? Anyway, go on.
Move on, Sean. Move on.
Give it up. Give it up.
It's hurting.
Retail has been one of the sectors most challenged by digitisation, online competition, and in recent years, COVID lockdowns. The impacts have been seismic and sometimes crippling for retail. Yet this week, Sean reported that Scentre Group, owner of the Westfield retail malls in Australia, could push through higher rents even though sales in the shopping centres were lower. How? Well, Scentre Group have looked to the best world examples, crafted their skills and evolved their business to turn their Westfield properties into thriving destinations and not just shopping centres. They've done an increasing series of deals with Disney, Netball Australia and Live Nation, for just a few examples, to offer entertainment, music artists, sports stars and personalities to bring foot traffic through the doors and inspire people to do more and stay longer at their destinations. Scentre Group CEO Elliot Rusanow said that so far this year, Westfield malls have welcomed 410 million customers, and that is 28 million more than 12 months ago. So even while store sales have been down 3.2%, Scentre Group has brought more customers to its Westfield properties and lifted average rents by 7.6% from its specialty retailers. Now, as we head towards Christmas, Sean has gifted us this inspirational business story and my nomination for Favourite Story of the Week. Sean?
Are you doing media relations for Scentre Group now? Oh, dear.
Sean, why don't you just give your story a crack?
That's right. I must remind you again, Sean, to play fair.
And I must remind you again, Judge Murphy, this is not about playing fair, the weekend edition. This is mostly just about abusing Adam. That's what Michael and I tend to do mostly.
Aha, but Michael's not here.
Yeah. Well, abusing the judge then, and Adam's too nice. Like, genuinely, if you could put niceness into a bottle, Adam's would be like a whole full litre and I'd be about a 10 mil. And it hurts me when you come across someone else who's nice who's the judge. Anyway.
Sean, you're 2-1 down. Do you think you're tactically improving your stance here?
Well, I've got the best favourite story because yours is about some bloody mall letting a few people in because a few netballers are there, right? My favourite story is how much money Berkshire Hathaway has stashed away. It's now about $157.2 billion US dollars. Yes, you know what, 250 billion Aussie dollars. Big Warren Buffett is waiting to work his magic. Last weekend, Berkshire reported third quarter earnings of nearly 11 billion US dollars. Now, how can you earn that much more money when you have it all sitting in cash or in treasuries? Well, it's because interest rates are rising. And when you've got 157 billion US dollars just hanging around and you're getting a higher interest rate on it, you end up with a lot more earnings. Berkshire's insurance business has done better, so that's sort of contributed a little bit. Buffett has ramped up acquisitions in recent years. He's bought companies in oil and insurance. But basically, he just can't find big enough companies to do big enough deals to get rid of all the cash. He shifted to doing share buybacks, which was not something that Warren Buffett was a fan of. Quite a few years ago, he wasn't a big fan of share buybacks. He's just got too much cash. I mean, what a challenge to have. What a cracking story. My favourite story. Cherelle.
Ooh, I've got to say that is pretty interesting. 157 billion and nowhere to stash it. My wardrobe could do with a little bit of that. Sean, regrettably, I must give it to you.
Oh, a little narkiness coming in now.
I'm just remembering those news stories you rejected. But anyway, it's a pretty interesting story. I'll give it to you.
Well, that's 2-2. I'm not even going to ask for points because I think I'm a moral winner in that one. Cherelle, Chief Economist at EY, Judge Murphy, thank you so very much for being part of the weekend edition.
Thank you, Sean. Thank you, Adam. It's been a lot of fun. Happy to come back anytime and sort you two out.
Brilliant.
Well, based on your efforts, spreadsheets, etc., I don't reckon you're going to get another invite.
Oh, come on. She's a natural.
Make sure you're following the podcast. Join us online at fearandgreed.com.au on LinkedIn, Instagram, X, and Facebook. Adam, thank you very much. Next week, Michael's back, so you'll be back in the hot seat being the judge. Good luck with that.
Thank you kindly.
I'm Sean Aylmer, and that was Fear and Greed Business News, the weekend edition. Have a great weekend.